Welcome back, everybody, to the top 10 rankings for each position in the MLB heading into the 2026 season. Today, we are doing the top 10 first basemen, which personally I am very excited for, as I think it is easily a top three position in baseball in terms of talent at that position, top to bottom. And just a reminder of the criteria before we get into the list. While past stats matter, 2025 and beyond, we are looking into 2026. So just because you were better in 2025, I might have you ranked above or below, depending on certain underlying numbers or projections into the 2026 season. That being said, I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get headed on right into number 10. Starting off at number 10, I have Ben Rice of the New York Yankees. And getting this out of the way, he is lucky I value first base defense lower than any other position on the field because this dude is just horrendous. That being said, considering it doesn't matter as much, how about Ben Rice with the bat? Name one thing this guy isn't either good or elite at. I can't personally. Maybe the base running is left to be desired, but with the bat, this dude crushes. And I think some people will say, well, almost all his home runs, besides like two, were pulled. These weren't some short porch Yankee Stadium home runs. If you look back at these homers and you go through them, these things are absolutely crushed. I remember when Ben Rice came into the league, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, and I was very, very skeptical of Rice. But man, he has just been everything and more that the Yankees have needed. And I expect him, I don't want to say to take a huge step forward in 2026. However, I expect right around 2025 production. His number suggests he's going to be right around there, anyways. And yeah, Ben Rice, good player for the Yankees. Excited to see what he is going to do in 2026. Coming in at number 9, I have Josh Naylor of the Seattle Mariners. And boy, what a pickup this guy was last year, and a great signing, free agent signing for Seattle in the off season. Naylor last year, 30 stolen bases, 20 homers, a 2030 season. And for a guy who you would not consider fast at all, I did not see that coming, attributing to his 3.1 WAR last year. Now, with the bat specifically, I am not as confident in him as I am Rice. Also, playing in Seattle rather than New York, I'm not as confident. But when you include fielding being some of the best over there at first, you include that base running, which is amazing, and you include what a 295 average, 20 homers, 815 OPS. That gives him the slight nudge for me over Rice, and he is just more proven. But Josh Naylor was amazing in the playoffs, was great in the regular season. Big reason for that Mariner postseason push, one game away. I like Josh Naylor. I think he's going to do big things next year. Curious to see what the base running looks like. However, big Josh Naylor fan, excited for his 2026 campaign. At number 8, I have newly acquired Baltimore Oriole Pete Alonso. That is weird to say. And what is also weird to say is Pete Alonso at number 8. And that is by no means a discredit to his game. That is just how amazing I think the guys above him are. But why is he number 8 and not higher? Well, I think one, moving to that Baltimore park will hurt him in comparison to Citi Field in New York. And number 2, I think the other guys outside of power just do everything else better than Pete Alonso, if you will. The average for Pete, though, was up last year at 272, which I love to see. If I see that sustained for one more year, he'll fly back up this list. But I'm not as confident the average is going to stay up. The K rate and the whiff rate scare me, although last year they were way better than usual. I'd like to see a bit of a higher walk rate from Pete. But those power numbers, when you're putting up 38, 34, 46 homers a year, that stuff is okay. And with a 272 average, that stuff will definitely play. I suppose I'm just not as confident in Pete in Baltimore as I was in New York. And again, I think the guys ahead of him are studs. The first basemen are studs. I expect big things from Pete last year. This will be a huge boost to this Baltimore lineup what mightily needed it last year. So we'll see. Very curious, but Pete Alonso number 8. At number 7, I have Rafael Devers of the San Francisco Giants. And basically everything felt wrong with that sentence. Devers on the Giants, Devers playing first base, and Devers this low at number 7? All that is odd. That being said, Devers, model of consistency. You know what you're going to get out of him, and that is elite play. Maybe you're not going to see MVP levels like I think some of these other guys ahead of him can reach, but wow. Devers, and I was very skeptical of Devers in that San Francisco ballpark, and he comes into San Francisco and he rakes just like he was doing in Boston. There is really not a weak point to Devers' game. I suppose the whiff and K rate you could look at and wish for better or lower numbers of that. But outside of that, he's got one of the most consistent bats. At first base, I love him so much more than third base because that fielding just does not matter as much. He's going to put up an 850 OPS every year. He's going to hit right around 30 homers every year. He's going to hit right around 260 to 270 every year. I know that was down to 10 points around 252 last year, but I expect that number to go back up. More familiar in San Francisco now. I just think Devers is one of the best players in the MLB. Putting him at 7 feels like a crime, but again, it just speaks to the guys above him. Why he's above Alonso, I just can trust Devers more to have a good year than I can Alonso. Of course, the power numbers are not quite the same, but man, hate seeing Devers in a giant uniform as a Dodger fan, but love him as a player, and I do think he is just going to thrive in San Francisco. Now at number 6, I have Michael Busch of the Chicago Cubs. And this is a guy I could just talk all day about. When I was originally making this list, I had Busch at number 8, but looking more into it, this guy is just a stud. When he was traded from the Dodgers a couple years ago, I thought we got a steal getting Jackson Ferris and Zaire Hope. And no disrespect to those two, they're some of the best prospects in baseball. Very excited for them to come up in the coming years. But oh my goodness, Michael Busch getting out of Freddie Freeman's shadow and thriving in Chicago. Just get a load of some of these numbers here: 4.6 war, 866 OPS, 34 homers, all in Wrigley. I did not see that coming. I knew Bush coming through the system. I was pretty high on him. I was never this high on him. I think sky's the limit for him. He's only 28 years old. I honestly think he's going to keep getting better. I mean, his expected slugging, expect his barrel percentage, his sweet spot percentage, all in the 95th, 96th percentile. And he's doing it in not an easy ballpark to play in. I think Bush is going to keep getting better and better and better. This is definitely more of a projection pick as he doesn't have the tenure that Alonso or Devers has. But I think he's going to while I think they're going to stay very stagnant, very consistent. I think Bush, sorry, is going to take that next step forward and really shine in Chicago. Coming in at number 5, I have Bryce Harper, the two-time MVP for the Philadelphia Phillies. Only won one of them with them anyway. Bryce Harper, did you know he has a career OPS of 906? Someone gets a 906 OPS, and that is arguably their best season ever. Bryce Harper last year had an OPS of 844. He hasn't had an OPS that low since 2016, 10 years ago. And an 844 OPS is great. I mean, Bryce Harper, one of the best players of my generation. He is now 33 years old, which does concern me. I also don't like to see the fact that he is regressing, albeit slowly, albeit still a great player. That is why he is here at number 5 and not fighting for top 3. But man, Harper in the snap of a finger can be an MVP again next year, and it honestly wouldn't surprise me. His chase rate and his whiff rate were pretty bad last year, but I mean, his expected OBA, expected slugging, his walk percentage, all elite. I mean, learning a new position at first, and he's done it great. It was weird seeing him struggle in the playoffs last year. Don't think that'll happen again. But Bryce Harper, he's a stud. generational player, not much more to say. Only thing that worries me is a slight regression that's been happening. Coming in at number 4, I have Matt Olson of the Atlanta Braves, Mr. Model of Consistency, him along with Devers. I just like Olson that much more. And I was very torn on putting Olson or Harper 4 or 5. They're very even for me, but I decided to go with Olson because he's slightly younger and we saw improvement from the 2024 season where we saw regression from Harper. That being said, Olson, you know what you're going to get out of him. You're going to get anywhere from an 850 to a 900 OPS. I don't think we're going to reach those 993 OPS that we saw in 2023, but I think you're going to be sitting around at a player where you are extremely happy this guy's your first baseman. Also, very, very good with the glove. Under the hood numbers, maybe besides his K and whiff rate, which is still above average for most first basemen, everything else is red to dark red. I mean, there's nothing really not to like about Olsen. And I'd say he possibly doesn't have the upside being a model of consistency, but 2023 proved that he can break out at any time. So I really don't have anything negative to say about Olsen. Love him as a player. Coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, I have Nick Kurtz of the Sacramento Athletics, Oakland Athletics, Las Vegas Athletics, whatever you want to say. Nick Kurtz had a one of a kind rookie season last year. Was arguably the best first baseman. I don't even know if you want to say arguably outside of Vladimir Guerrero in the postseason. This guy was clearly the best first baseman. But I do know there is a lot of discrepancy when it comes to where this guy is ranked. Me personally, I love him. I was a lot closer to putting him to 1 than I was anywhere lower on this list, but I think some reservations are in order. I do think pitchers are going to figure him out a bit next year. I do not see him having over 1,000 OPS next year as he did this past year. That being said, it just can't be overlooked what he did. Outside of the whiff rate, which was the worst in baseball, and the K rate, I mean, this guy just hits the ball hard in a ballpark that rewards you hitting the ball hard. One thing that does worry me, however, is his opposite field home run rate compared to his pulled home run rate. You look at his baseball savant page, and they are just flooded to the left. I don't know how sustainable that is. But I mean, I feel like I'm nitpicking at this rate. He has another season like this. He is easily the number one first baseman in baseball. I just have a little reservation coming into sophomore year, the sophomore slump. I would like to see what he does. However, if he puts up a very similar season again, it would not surprise me. But I am expecting a slight step back. But Nick Kurtz, incredible player, incredible rookie season. Coming in at number 2, we have Freddie Freeman of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Back to back positions where a Dodger is number 2. And I'm going to come out and say, I do not get this narrative of Freddie Freeman falling on people's rankings or falling down their top 50 charts. Freddie Freeman last year, in what people are considering a down year, 869 OPS, 295 average, put up a 3.5 war in only 556 at bats in relation to his 2023 campaign, where he put up 637 at bats. I don't know where that narrative is coming from. Freddie Freeman, still one of the best players in the game, arguably still the best first baseman in the game. However, I have him at number 2 because I think the guy's postseason at number 1 was just simply unbelievable. But don't sleep on Freddie Freeman's postseason, all right? A walk-off home run in the World Series in the 18th inning, game 3. I mean, the dude's still a stud. Yes, he is aging. Yes, he is 36 years old now. But until I see real regression from Freddie Freeman, until I see him start hitting under an 800 OPS, the model of consistency is still going to be right up here. Still hit 24 homers last year. I assume he's going to hit over 300 next year. Freddie Freeman, amazing dude, amazing player. Easily my number 2 first baseman. In at number 1, I have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, this pick was a lot harder for me than it was at catcher for Cal Raleigh Jr. I was very close to putting Freddie Freeman here. I was very close to putting Nick Kurtz here, but I ended up going Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for a few reasons. One, his under the hood numbers just blow Freddie's out of the water. His expecting batting average, expecting slugging, his hard hit percentage, bat speed, his K and whiff rate are sensational for a first baseman. Everything projecting looks better than Freeman. And also, he's only 26 years old. And he also has more of a track record than Nick Kurtz. And obviously, you can't talk about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. going into 2026 before you talk about his 2025 postseason. Just get a look at these numbers: 397 batting average, a 1.289 OPS. He was your ALCS MVP. He hit 8 home runs in the postseason along with 15 RBIs. This dude was a monster. Now, what worries me is that he was not a monster in the regular season, only having an 848 OPS with only 23 home runs. However, he has proven to be an every other year type of guy, with the even years being his strong years. Going into 2026, that bodes well for him. Plus, coming off all the momentum in the world in 2025 of the postseason. So I don't know. His regular season last year does not worry me too much. Against the best competition with the brightest lights, he shows he still has it, and I expect him to have another MVP type of season. While he wouldn't be my MVP pick, it will not surprise me if he is well and truly in the running. Vladimir Guerrero, number one first baseman in the MLB. And that is my top 10 MLB first baseman heading into the 2026 season. Thank you guys for watching. This was an extremely fun episode to do, as first base is one of the top three most stacked positions, top to bottom. Fun evaluating all this talent, because even the guys 11 through 15 would have made the list at almost every other position. So it was tough. Had to leave some good guys off like Jonathan Aranda and such. However, yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know if you agree and disagree, and I'll see you in the next episode of the top 10 second baseman heading into the 2026 season. Peace.